Do you have any idea how encouraging, how game-changing a simple breakfast can be? Let me tell you about that idea and what I did with my kids as they were growing up. One of the things that we love to do as my kids were growing up, I've got 3 daughters, they're grown now. One thing that we loved to do was every Friday morning, I would take them to breakfast. I didn't miss one. I made sure that that was a tradition that we wanted to do, that we wanted to stick to, and then no matter how many problems we had going into it, and trust me, oh God, there were some problems. But anyway, let me encourage you to start traditions with your kids early. I mean, they were in kindergarten when I started this, and every Friday we would go to breakfast. It was 1 and then 2, then 3 daughters. Taking them to breakfast was not always easy. It was a challenge. And when they got into elementary school, taking them to breakfast was rough because they all 3 wanted to go to different places. They would argue, they would fuss in the car. And I'm thinking as I'm driving, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. I'm just making myself miserable. They're not really getting anything out of it, but I stuck with it through the years. And every Friday morning, we would go to breakfast and we learned how to take turns. We learned how one would get there Friday, then the next Friday would be the next restaurant for the other girl, then the next one. So we would rotate it around, and sometimes we would even go through a drive-through for one and then wind up at another place because they just couldn't stand that place. We compromised, we worked it out. And I'm thinking the whole time, this is miserable. And I'm not enjoying any part of this, and neither are they. But today, even in their upper 20s, they talk about how much those Friday mornings meant to them and how much they really enjoyed it. And sometimes I would encourage them, not just little conversations. It wasn't just go and talk about nothing. There was a purpose. There was a method behind my madness. I was taking them and pouring into them little ideas about life, little life nuggets that I knew that they could handle at whatever age they were at. So I would keep it age appropriate, but I would pick something that I wanted to teach them. Sometimes I would even encourage them to maybe learn a Bible verse. I would give them a Bible verse to learn through the week, and then that Friday, if they could say it there at breakfast, they would get a prize or get something special. Different ideas that we had going on. But it wasn't just showing up and talking about nothing, or actually we didn't have cell phones back then, praise the Lord. But we didn't go and just stare at our phones. So if you are going to take me up on this challenge and take your kids to breakfast, even if it's 1, 2, 3, 4 kids, you're going to start that tradition that every Friday morning, if you can do it, take them to breakfast. Do not bring your phone in. And if they have phones, they can't bring phones in. Everything stays in the car. You need to be there. I've said this before. You need to be where your shoes are. In other words, you need to be present in that moment to where you're really enjoying each other. And take the time to encourage one another, to talk about cool stuff through the week, to pour maybe a life lesson into them. And keep in mind, as it was tough for me, and I thought, man, this is going nowhere because all they're doing is fussing. It's miserable. Trust me, if you just stick with it, get them into middle school, get them into high school, it just becomes more and more relevant to them. And even if they act like they don't like it and don't want to do it, later in life, they're going to be so grateful that you stuck it out and you took them to breakfast. So something very simple like that. Just have that date, that weekly or bi-weekly, whatever you can commit to, whatever that is, but just commit to it, stick to it through the years, and make those special moments in your life. I hope that encourages you. Please subscribe to my channel. Please check out my other videos. I try to give little short videos of different things that you can learn from, the wisdom that was poured into me from other people. I just want to share that, and that's what this channel is all about. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.